Yeah, I don't.
Looks good to you guys. Okay. I believe so.
To right now.
There's nothing on channel 1. There's wild. This mic is open now.
Vegas.
Can I just stand behind you then?
Yes, we just put that out so that we would hear something instead of nothing.
Dave.
DC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're out of DC, right?
Thank you.
This is at DC IFB.
Okay, this is your transmission people again. I've asked.
Down, bed, cut in.
Sorry.
Lurch.
Just warning you.
Well, it's okay. It's your choice.
You can't walk away.
Sorry, sir, just to make you aware. Thank you.
Техническая проверка. 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126.
Good day. Just double checking our last minute translation booths, making sure everyone is getting everything as needed. Again, you should be having English in your English only modes. The floor will get both everything at the same time. On your headsets, it should be 00 floor, 01 should be English, and 02 should be Russian on your headsets. So again, just doing a couple last minute checks, making sure everything is going through as it should. Thank you.
Кремлевский пул, у вас все хорошо, все нормально? Камеры, покажите, пожалуйста, большой палец, что все нормально. Все, спасибо большое.
Can I stand here? Get it?
And you just ask them, make sure. Okay, I just want to warn you that because I'm allowed to back right in the camera instead of at my seat, if we get a 2-1, I'm going to have to sit down. I'm not going to be able to part the 2-minute thing. Does that make sense? Yes. And so we're not running my back. Is that what you're saying? That's okay. No, that's not what they're saying. They just told me. Okay, so you come to me. You should come to me like right off the top if possible. And give it to everyone. Go sit down.
Цена прямо сейчас.
We get a 2-minute one. Okay. So Russian I don't understand. These people I don't understand. I understand. Like they're not Russian soldiers. I don't. So as there's like
Техническая сторона вопроса уже готова. Типа Дмитриев появляется в зале пресс-конференции, появляется к своему представителю президента. И кроме того, глава российского правительства. Прямо сейчас, видите, уже все на него набросились, но потому что...
Nobody's going live right now, but it's just yeah, we're aware.
Mike. Off. You got to put the switch. Switch.
this reporter's not ready to take action.
Cell phones. Cell phones barely hanging in there.
well, that's part of the problem. That is also all the live use. But also, the Secret Service, they take a one anytime. They can visit us.
They were going to give us hard lines.
of these three are. You're putting a train station blind.
I already read all of that.
Volvo. Volvo. It's a 3G, 4G phone.
Oh yeah?
It'll work better.
Yeah,
You don't have the adapter?
I can't break it now.
Oh,
I'm Bluetoothing into my thing, but thanks.
no worries. I usually do a USB-C hard wire.
Does that work on USB-C?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So do the new cell phones.
yeah. I do have that cable. I just in the middle of it now.
Yeah, it's fine. The flip phones are a little, they're older, but they don't take as much bandwidth. No.
Watch your back, mister. Sir. Huh?
It's a losing fight. Robert, over here. Mark, how do you Bluetooth into the mixer? Adapter 3? Yeah, yeah. They're very good. Use their debt, lose a lot as well.
Yes, I am back. I'm still in the spot. About 15 minutes ago, Americans and Russians were ushered into a conference room, several hundred on either side of the aisle. Americans and Russians separated, empty podiums up ahead of us with pursuing the peace written in letters above the two lecterns. The senior staff of both Russians and the Americans have filtered in. They're sitting in the front row, so we're waiting some sort of notification that the press might begin. There's a sense of surprise here because I think we were waiting to hear that the three-on-three meetings initially completed and there would be a larger lunch for more of the staff and various representatives here, and that didn't happen. They decided to apparently decided to come out and do this press conference now. So read into that what you will.
Our world. You see a switch over? Yeah, switch.
Do you know what Wi-Fi there used to be more under this light maybe?
They took our water.
Oh, that's right. They took all the food and water. Okay.
The thing that Donald Trump has done, first and foremost, he said is that some sort of during these meetings, on the last. What's the view of it? Inaugural address, he said he's going to
I don't see it. Common can't pour feature.
West?
Somewhere in there.
I saw his face as he was walking around, and he kept on expressing his response on Twitter.
Cat 5 goes straight back that way. So somewhere in that section. Right at first, and then I get it. No. You're on the army on the neck. I can't. None of us are skinny enough to crawl under this.
He barely done the
Okay, that's where the blue cable goes to.
Sorry, repeat that? Oh, that wasn't.
Is that photonic? Photonics? Yeah.
Okay, well then.
Mario says it's very good there somewhere.
Oh, Gumby, but not that far.
Rachel dropped.
How can I come up to another wireless as well? I mean, we can definitely add it to that other thing. Wi-Fi is also.
Yeah, the other Wi-Fi is totally dead. Is it working?
Hey, New York, how's this audio now? How's this audio with Kelly now? I need to go closer to her.
Back in there, sir.
So the cable didn't look long enough. I think it's over. Let's see, headset.
Oh, the headset just came in.
Caroline, Butnick.
Butnick? She may have to give up on this. Okay.
He'll see you live.
Dark smile. Without progress on the ceasefire, I think American allies are quite successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America and the President of the Russian Federation.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, our negotiations have been held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual respect. We had very thorough negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to Alaska. It only makes sense that we've met here because our countries, though separated by the ocean, are close neighbors. So when we've met, when I came out of the plane and I've said, "Good afternoon, dear neighbor, very good to see you, in good health and to see you alive," I think that is very neighborly. And I think that's some kind words that we can say to each other. We're separated by the Strait of Bering, though there are 2 islands only between the Russian island and the U.S. island. They're only 4 kilometers apart. We're close neighbors, and it's a fact. It's also important that Alaska has to do with our common heritage, common history between Russia and the U.S., and many positive events have to do with that territory. Still, there is tremendous cultural heritage back from the Russian America. For example, Orthodox churches and a lot of more than 700 geographical names of Russian origin. During the Second World War, it was here in Alaska that was the origin of the legendary air bridge for the supply of military aircraft and other equipment under the Lend-Lease program. It was a dangerous and treacherous route over the vast emptiness of ice. However, the pilots of both countries did everything to bring closer the victory. They risked their lives and they gave it all for the common victory. I was just in the city of Magadan in Russia, and there is a memorial there dedicated to the Russian and the U.S. pilots. And there are 2 flags, the U.S. flag and the Russian flag. And I know that here as well there is such a memorial. There is a military burial place several kilometers away from here. The Soviet pilots that buried there who died during that dangerous mission. We're thankful to the citizens and the government of the U.S. for carefully taking care of their memory. I think that's very worthy and noble. We'll always remember other historical examples when our countries defeated common enemies together in the spirit of battle camaraderie and allyship that supported each other and facilitated each other. I'm sure that this heritage will help us rebuild and foster mutually beneficial and equal ties at this new stage, even during the hardest
Как известно,
conditions.
российско-американские
It
встречи
is
в
known
верхах
that there have
не
been
проводились более
no
4
summits
лет.
between Russia and the
Это
US for
большой
4
срок.
years, and
Минувший
that's
период
a
был
long
очень
time.
непростым для двухсторонних
This time
отношений.
was very
И,
hard
скажем
for
прямо,
bilateral
они
relations, and
скатились
let's be
до самой
frank,
низкой
they've fallen
точки
to
со
the
времен
lowest
Холодной войны,
point
и это
since
не идет на
the Cold
пользу
War.
ни нашим
I think
странам,
that's
да, и
not
миру
benefiting
в
our
целом.
countries and the world as a
Очевидно,
whole.
что рано или
It is
поздно
apparent
нужно
that
было
sooner or
выправлять
later
ситуацию,
we had
переходить
to
от
amend the
конфронтации к
situation to move on
диалогу. И
from
в
the
этом плане
confrontation
личная
to
встреча
dialogue.
глав
And in
двух
this case, a
государств
personal
реально
meeting
назрела.
between the heads
Конечно,
of state
с
has
условием
been long
серьезной и
overdue,
кропотливой
naturally,
подготовки. И такая
under the
работа
condition of
в целом
serious and
была
painstaking work.
проделана.
And this
У
work
нас
has
с
been done in
президентом
general.
Трампом установились
Me and
очень
President
хорошие
Trump have
прямые
very good
контакты.
direct
Мы
contact.
неоднократно
We've
и
spoken
откровенно
multiple times. We spoke
разговаривали по
frankly
телефону.
on the phone.
К нам, как известно, в Россию несколько раз приезжал
And
спецпредставитель
special envoy
президента США,
of
господин
the president, Mr. Witkoff,
Регулярно
traveled out to Russia
контактировали
several
наши
times.
помощники и главы
Our
внешнеполитических
advisors and
ведомств.
heads of foreign
Как вы
ministries
хорошо
kept in
знаете,
touch all the
понимаете, одним
time.
из
And you
центральных
know fully
вопросов
well that one of
стала
the
ситуация
central
вокруг
issues
Украины.
was the
видим
situation
стремление
around
администрации
Ukraine.
США
We see
и
the strive
лично
of the
президента Трампа
administration and
содействовать
President Trump
разрешению
personally to
украинского
help
конфликта.
facilitate
Его
the
желание
resolution of
вникнуть
the
в
Ukrainian
суть
conflict
и
and his
понять
strive
его
to
историю.
get to the
Я не раз
crux of
говорил,
the
что
matter to
для
understand
России
this
события
history
на Украине
is
связаны с
precious.
фундаментальными
As I've
угрозами
said,
нашей национальной
the situation
безопасности.
in Ukraine
Более
has to do
того,
with
мы всегда
fundamental threats to
считали
our
и
security.
считаем
Moreover,
украинский
we've
народ,
always
я говорил об
considered
этом неоднократно,
the
братским,
Ukrainian
как
nation,
это
and
ни
I've said
странно
it multiple
прозвучит
times, a
в
brotherly
сегодняшних
nation.
условиях.
However
У нас
strange it
одни
may
корни, и
sound
все
in these conditions,
и все
we have
происходящее
the same
для
roots,
нас
and everything
это
that's
трагедия и
happening is a
тяжелая боль.
tragedy for us and
Поэтому
terrible
наша
wound.
страна искренне
Therefore, the
заинтересована в
country
том,
is
чтобы
sincerely
положить
interested
этому
in
конец.
putting an end
Но
to
при
it.
этом мы убеждены,
At the same time,
чтобы
we're convinced
чтобы украинское
that in
урегулирование
order
носило
to
устойчивый и
make
долгосрочный
the
характер,
settlement
должны быть устранены все
lasting and long
первопричины
term, we need
кризиса,
to
о
eliminate
которых
all the
говорили
primary roots,
неоднократно.
the
Обеспечен
primary
учет всех
causes of that
законных
conflict. And we've said
озабоченностей
it multiple
России,
times, to
восстановлен
consider all
справедливый
legitimate
баланс в
concerns
сфере
of Russia and
безопасности в
to
Европе и в
reinstate
мире
a
в
just
целом.
balance
Я
of
согласен с
security in
президентом
Europe and in the
Трампом, он
world on
сегодня
the whole.
говорил об
And I
этом,
agree with President
что,
Trump, as he has said
безусловно,
today,
должна быть
that naturally
обеспечена и
the
безопасность
security
Украины.
of Ukraine should be
Конечно,
ensured as well.
мы готовы над
Naturally,
этим работать.
we are prepared to work
Хочется
on that.
надеяться, что достигнутое нами
I would
понимание
like to hope that the
позволит
agreement that we've
приблизиться к той
reached
цели
together will
и
help
откроет
us
дорогу
bring
к миру
closer
на
that goal
Украине.
and will pave
Мы
the
рассчитываем,
path
что в
towards peace
Киеве
in
и
Ukraine.
европейских
We
столицах
expect that Kiev and
воспримут
European
все это в
capitals will
конструктивном
perceive
ключе
that
и не станут
constructively
чинить
and
никаких
that they won't throw a
препятствий.
wrench
Не
in the
будут
works.
предпринимать
They
попыток
will
за
not
счет
make any
провокаций или
attempts
закулисных интриг
to use some
сорвать
backroom dealings to
намечающийся
conduct
прогресс.
provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Кстати, с приходом новой администрации
Incidentally,
США
when the new
двусторонний
administration
товарооборот
came to
начал у нас
power,
повышаться.
bilateral trade
Все
started to grow.
это носит пока такой символический характер, но
It's still very symbolic. Still, we have
говорю о том, что у нас много
a growth of 20%. As I've said, we have a lot of dimensions for joint
Очевидно,
work.
что
It
российско-американское
is
деловое
clear that
и
U.S.
инвестиционное
and
партнерство
Russian
имеет огромный
investment and
потенциал.
business
Россия и США
cooperation has
есть что
tremendous
предложить
potential.
друг другу в
Russia and the
торговле,
U.S. can
энергетике,
offer each
цифровой
other so
сфере,
much in
высоких
trade,
технологиях и
digital,
освоении
high-tech,
космоса.
and in
Актуальным
space
видится их
exploration.
взаимодействие в Арктике,
We see
возобновление
that Arctic
межрегиональных
cooperation
контактов,
is
в том
also
числе
very
между
possible.
нашим
And
Дальним
our
Востоком и
international
американским
context,
западным
for example,
побережьем.
between the Far East
В
of
общем,
Russia and the west
нашим
coast of the
странам
U.S.
важно и
Overall,
нужно
it's very important
перелистнуть
for our countries
страницу
to
и
turn the
вернуться к
page, to
сотрудничеству.
go back to
Символично,
cooperation.
что
It is
неподалеку
symbolic
на
that not
границе
far away from
России
here,
и США,
the
как
border
я уже
between
говорил,
Russia and the
проходит
US,
так
there
называемая
is a
линия
so-called
перемены
international
дат,
date line.
где можно буквально перешагнуть
I think you
из
can
вчера
step
в
over
завтра.
literally from yesterday into tomorrow.
Надеюсь, что у нас так и
And
получится
I hope that we'll succeed in
в
that.
политической сфере.
In
Я
political
хотел бы
sphere.
поблагодарить
I would
господина
like to
Трампа
thank
за
President
совместную
Trump
работу,
for our
за
joint work,
доброжелательный и доверительный
for the
тон бесед.
well-wishing and
Главное, что с
trustworthy
обеих
tone
сторон
of our
был настроен
conversation.
на
It's important that
результат.
both
Мы
sides
видим, что
are
президент США имеет
result-oriented, and we
четкое
see that the
представление
President
о
of the
том,
U.S.
чего
has a
хочет
very
добиться,
clear idea of
искренне
what he would
заботится о
like to
процветании
achieve.
своей
He
страны
sincerely
и то
cares
же
about
время
prosperity of his
проявляет
nation
понимание наличию в России
still
своих
understands that
национальных интересов.
Russia has its own
Рассчитывает, что
national
сегодняшние
interests. I
договоренности
expect that
станут
today's
опорной
agreements
точкой
will
не
be
только для
the
решения
starting
украинской
point,
проблемы,
not
но
only
и
for the
положит
solution of
начало
the Ukrainian
восстановлению
issue,
деловых,
but also will help
прагматичных
us bring
отношений
back
между
business-like
Россией
and
и США.
pragmatic
Ну и
relations
в
between Russia
завершение
and the US.
хотел бы вот что
And in the
добавить.
end, I would like to
Я
add
помню,
one more
что
thing.
в 2022
I'd like to remind you that in
во время
2022,
последних контактов с
during the
прежней
last
администрацией, я
contact
тогда
with the previous
пытался
administration,
убедить
I tried to
своего
convince
прежнего американского
my
коллегу в
previous
том,
American
что не
colleague
нужно доводить до
it should
ситуации,
not, the situation should not be
после наступления, которые могут наступить
brought to
тяжелые
the
последствия в
point
виде
of no
боевых
return
действий.
when it would come
И
to
прямо сказал
hostilities.
тогда,
And I
что
said
это
it quite
большая
directly back
ошибка.
then that it's a big
И
mistake.
вот сегодня мы слышим, когда президент Трамп
Today,
говорит,
when
что если бы
President
я был
Trump saying that
президентом, то войны
if he
бы
was
не
the
было.
president back then, there will be
Я
no
думаю,
war.
что так бы
And I'm
на самом деле
quite sure that it would indeed be so.
Подтверждаю
I
это,
can confirm that.
потому что в целом у
I
нас
think that
с
overall,
президентом Трампом
me and President
наладился
Trump
очень хороший
have built a very
деловой и
good
доверительный
business-like and
контакт.
trustworthy
И
contact.
у меня есть все основания
And I have
полагать, что
every
двигаясь
reason
по
to
этому
believe that
пути, мы
moving
можем
down this path,
дойти и до,
we can
и чем
come,
быстрее, тем лучше,
and the sooner the
до
better,
завершения конфликта
to the
в
end of the
Украине.
conflict
Благодарю
in
вас
Ukraine.
за
Thank you.
внимание.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. That was very profound, and I will say that I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and John Radcliffe. Thank you very much. But we have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here, and I think, you know, everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world in a very short period of time, and we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with. We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax. That made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that during the course of his career. He's seen it all, but we had to put up with the Russia hoax. He knew it was a hoax, and I knew it was a hoax, but what was done was very criminal. But it made it harder for us to deal as a country in terms of the business and all of the things that we'd like to have dealt with. But we'll have a good chance when this is over. So just to put it very quickly, I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team, whose faces, who I know in many cases, other than that, whose faces I get to see all the time in the newspapers. You're almost as famous as the boss, but especially this one right over here. But we had some good meetings over the years, right? Good, productive meetings over the years, and we hope to have that in the future. But let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Crazy. Let's go. Get up there. Down, please, sir, down. Down, please, thank you.
They are moving the pool. They're rushing the pool out. All the progress of the advocates because I can see them all moving.
U.S. pool.
Down. Down.